The road to the left would have led you to one of the grandest plantations in the early 18th century Carolina, William Middleton's Crowfield Plantation, named after his aunt's Crowfield Manor near Suffolk, England. As your carriage passed the Moon Pond, you would have stopped at the entrance of the grand manor house. Here you can see how the grounds were laid out. You would enter the avenue of oaks and drive around the Moon Pond to the entrance of the house. Notice that the manor house had two outbuildings. Some speculate that these were guest houses, but I believe one of them was a kitchen. Notice the absence of utility buildings such as barns and workshops. There are no drawings or photographs of the original house. I made this drawing based on floor plans and a description that Middleton had in the South Carolina Gazette when he was selling the house. Here we can see the layout of the rooms. There were, of course, 4 rooms on ground level. Then there would have been 4 rooms overhead, as well as 4 rooms down below. Each room would have had its own fireplace. Therefore, 12 for the entire house. Now let's take a look around the side of the house. Here's one of the bricks. This brick most likely was made right here on the plantation. Frequently with these old bricks you can find an actual thumbprint or handprint of the brick maker. As we walk around the end of the house, remember there was another building over to the left, and there was a wall between the house and that building. On this corner of the house we can see some of the decorative masonry. Some of the brick were covered with cement and then have grooves drawn in them alternately. This is to suggest limestone cornerstones. Behind the house would have been a huge ornamental garden. Remember in those days, in the early 18th century, that gardens were as much for entertainment as anything else. Lavish parties would have been held here, possibly even candlelit. There would probably have been a string quartet playing here. Remember also in those days, none of these trees you see today were here. This would have been relatively flat except for ornamental shrubs and flowers. The layout of the garden looked like this. Here's the observation mound here. And of course, as we go further back through the garden, we will reach the fish pond and ornamental ponds. The gardens would have looked much like these in a large estate in California. The observation mound would have been right over there to the left. You recall in most traditionally 17th and 18th century gardens were symmetrical, but this particular garden with the inclusion of the observation mound does not follow that pattern. Up ahead is the fish pond. Notice its rectangular shape. It was for fish and also waterfowl, and there was an island in the center with a Greek temple. Crowfield was a grand plantation in its day, but the lack of adequate infrastructure to get its products to market led to its demise.